who really enrich this organization throughout the years with their thought leadership, we thought it is essential to open up the potential for candidacy and nomination openly and transparently. And this is what we have done. This is, of course, wouldn't have been done without the support from the Council of Administration, which they have given us the trust to do this throughout this procedural, if I would say, acts. This is in direct compliance, of course, with our statutes, and much more, it is much more also linked to our values as public servants when it comes to transparency and open governance, and making sure that no one is left behind, but not to say it by words, but to practice it in action. And I'm happy to say that we are here to discuss the potential candidates' views and aspirations and thoughts and strategies. Because after this session, in which we are going to listen to the 4 candidates who have registered officially through a very rigorous procedure, we are going to meet as a Council of Administration to discuss the candidates and recommend, based on that, to the General Assembly of the IIS, which also includes the people from all over the world, from all the states, member states, and corporate members, for them to vote on the candidacy in June 2025, which is the last time for my term of presidency. So I welcome those who have put their names and put their efforts to be as candidates, because this is so much important, and they felt it is also that they can add value to the organization and to the public administration in general and the administrative sciences in general. And this is where we would like to listen to them. We'll have 15 minutes for each. I will be a little bit strict. I will be lenient for plus 2 minutes, but not more than that, so that we can give the floor for the rest. So I would ask them, the 4 candidates, to excuse me if I was a little bit strict for the 15 minutes. At the same time, after that, we are going to open the floor for questions, not really discussions. So for the questions will be from you to the 4 candidates to understand them better, for those who have the right to vote, so that they can put their vote clearly. And we are going to conclude by the hour. Now it's 2:30. By 4 o'clock, we're going to end this session and move to the rest of our agenda, which includes the closing of this conference. I hope this makes it clear, and we're going to start with my friend Baltazar. He's the first in the nomination because we have 4, and by the names we have taken as alphabetical order. We have Baltazar, and then we have, I need to check the names again just to ensure. We have Baltazar, he's here in India with us in New Delhi, and we have then Geraldine Fraser, she's going to be online, and then we have Rana Al Khalifa, which she's going to be online too, and then we have Srivinas, which he is with us, but he hasn't yet arrived. So we'll start with Baltazar. Please, Baltazar, take the floor for 15 minutes.
How to proceed with the slides? Yeah, okay. So, thank you, dear President, distinguished audience. My name is Alexander Balthasar, candidate for next presidency. Here, some information on my background, some additional information. I'm that what is called pre-academic, bureaucratic career, and also an academic
You're, yes, it is you,
Yeah, thank you.
Najat.
Yeah.
Just for Cesar, he raised his hand. Thank you, President.
Because if you don't mind the Caesar, I think it's better not to, because since we have already passed the timing, if you don't mind, unless we can
I
extend.
will be so short. So short.
Okay, please. I think we'll
Yeah, well,
extend it for a bit for the last question.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So kind of you. My name is Cesar Alfonso. I'm based in Brazil. I'm a executive secretary of Aisha and LACPA. As my president, Aisha president Iias-Darpg is here. I'm not going to intervene for Aisha, but I would like to ask a question on behalf of the president of LACPA, Ruben Darío Echeverri. The question is so simple. Which are the plans for LACPA in terms of
Request you all to kindly take your seats because we are seats, we are starting the closing ceremony of this conference. Please get settled, please. नहीं है जो लिखा है वही करेंगे हाँ अच्छा सुनिए वो जो आपने लिस्ट दी थी वो डियाना ने मुझे ये भी दी है कि पहले इनको करना है फिर श्रीनिवास को करना है
हाँ हाँ ये इनको भी कर दीजिए
हाँ
इनके
ठीक है
बाद
ठीक है
इसी क्रम में
I request you all to kindly get settled. Please, people who are roaming around.
it's as you print.
Yeah.
I go first.
May I request you all to kindly get settled, please get seated. We move forward to closing ceremony of this conference. Should I start now? Yeah? I request all the dignitaries on the dais to kindly take your seats. We extend a very warm welcome to all the esteemed guests on the dais, and I extend a very warm welcome to you all. The Mahakumbh Mela is still at its peak. It is believed in ancient India that after the manthan, the churning of ocean, the amrit, the nectar had come out. And I'm sure after the churning of ideas and productive deliberations in this conference has also led us towards the nectar of fruitful outcomes. This session will be chaired by Mr. Sofian Sehravi, and now we kickstart. Now I call upon Mr. Puneet Yadav, Additional Secretary, Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, for giving his remarks.
Thank you. Respected Shri V. Srinivas, Secretary DRPG, esteemed Mr. Raid Benshams, President IIAS, Mr. Sofian, Director General of IIAS, the conference rapporteurs, distinguished session chairs and speakers in the conference, members of the IIAS Scientific Committee, Finance Committee, and the Council of Administration, dear delegates and ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you all. It is my privilege to welcome you to this closing ceremony of the Iias-Darpg India Conference 2025. Over the past 4 days, we have witnessed a remarkable conference take place in this magnificent Bharat Mandapam. With participation of over 750 delegates and invitees, I hope you would agree, this is one of the most successful IIAS conferences. With nearly 380 paper submissions and 66 breakaway sessions, besides the plenary sessions, we have exceeded the scale of organization which was originally proposed by the IIAS to us. Steve Trupin is here, he would compliment me on that. This conference has brought through brilliant thought leaders, policymakers, and experts from all over the world in the field of public administration, public policy, and administrative reforms. We had exchange of ideas, experiences, and innovative solutions on next generation administrative reforms discussed over the last 4 days. I must say that India is privileged to have organized this conference. You must have heard of the win-win situation. You would agree, there is no doubt that India is the happening place in the world now. This event was with the participation of 750 delegates, shows the leadership of Shri V. Srinivas. I must say that IAS deserves, and we also look forward to hosting many more such interventions. It is time to bridge the north-south gap. It benefits us all in the IAS bodies like EGPA, IRS, LACPA, and ACPA. You share the competencies with our Indian universities through DRPG. On its part, India has demonstrated successfully a series of administrative reforms in e-governance and grievance redressal and public service delivery. The global and South-South interests are well served by transfer of such innovative practices through such increased interaction and association between our countries and institutions. In this conference, we have deliberated on a number of topics. They covered a very wide spectrum of subjects: advancing skills and competencies for innovation in public administration, challenges and innovations in accreditation, intergovernmental coordination with the EU experiences, next generation administrative reforms with examples from local government in EU, post-pandemic crisis management, example from Philippines and Latin America, governing smart territories with examples in telepresence and assistance robots in healthcare, digital transformation and governance with examples from South Africa, Mexico, and India, engagement of youth in development through pioneering administrative reforms for inclusive growth, examples from BRICS, rules governing digital platforms, data and AI from Brussels and Italy, education and skill development in governance, SDGs and governance cases from Europe and Asia, social innovation, and the list goes on and on. Only because we had tremendous response from all the leaders, from academics, the thought leaders who took out their time to make and submit these over 380 papers for this conference. The journey from Bharat Mandapam to the last mile does not end here. It begins with each of us as an ambassador of change. I must add that this conference would not be possible without the tireless efforts of our partner, the IIS team, the distinguished speakers, and every delegate present here. Your dedication and enthusiasm and the words of appreciation throughout this conference have inspired us. I have a firm belief that this is the new beginning of a deeper association between India and IAS and all of us, its associated bodies and organizations. We have to work together with a renewed commitment to equitable governance, empowered citizens, and a future shaped by innovation and inclusivity. With that, I thank you all once again for your valuable contributions, and I look forward to the continued collaboration that will emerge from the dialogues that we have had here. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Mr. Puneet Yadav. May I request Mr. V. Srinivas, Secretary, Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, to kindly address us and show us the way forward.
President of the IAS, Dr. Raid Mohammad Ben Shams, Director General, Mr. Sufyan, Chairman of the Scientific Committee, Mr. Shirayuki, Additional Secretary, DRPG, Shri Puneet Yadav, the rapporteurs of the conference, Professor Suresh Mishra and Professor Wolfgang, distinguished colleagues. Before I go into the formal speech, let me reminisce how this conference evolved. A few days before the annual conference in Mombasa in 2024, the President IAS had given me a WhatsApp phone call. Can you host an annual conference? So high was our commitment to the IAS, Mr. President, so high was my commitment to your leadership and to the IAS that on one phone call, we took up this massive task of organizing an event which took us 8 months preparation, innumerable man hours, and tremendous amount of hard work from a very dedicated team of officials led by Shri Puneet Yadav. A big cheer for each one of them. And now, so impressed are we with this experience that India would like to commit 2 more conferences over the next 5 years. Should the IAS Council of Administration be willing, we would be happy to conduct another conference on 2027 February and another one in 2029 February. Now, let me go to the formal aspects of what Puneet has given me to deliver on this forum. I'd like to formally thank the President IAS, the Council of Administration, on behalf of the Government of India, for giving India the opportunity to host this Iias-Darpg India Conference 2025. The conference deliberations, the meetings of the Council of Administration, the general body, the research advisory committee, bilateral meetings, all of which have been successfully conducted. And each one of you has witnessed the warmth of India's hospitality, the power of India's digital technology platforms, and India's deep commitment to bridging the North-South divide. This conference, distinguished colleagues, was celebrated as a festival of learning and knowledge dissemination across India's apex public policy institutions and universities. The conference witnessed popularization and democratization of the IIAS presence all over India, with over 750 delegates from 58 countries participating in 66 breakout sessions and 7 plenary sessions. I am happy to note that this represents one of the largest ever conferences conducted by the IAS in its 100-year history. In the spirit of our deep commitment to multilateralism and to the growth of the IAS, the financing of this entire conference is borne by the host nation. and all the conference proceeds have been credited to the IAS finances. Young achievers from state government. We've had 15 young officers from government of Maharashtra who have arrived. We have young officers from distant parts like Jammu and Kashmir, northeast parts of India, South India, who have all reached here. We have central government institutions, the authors of our book publication who came from 20 different states, Apex public policy institutions, universities have had the opportunity to present their work in this global forum. Thousands of officials participated in the conference deliberations online, and the entire alumni of the National Center of Good Governance from over 34 countries participated online. Over 1,000 social media posts on LinkedIn, X, Facebook have been issued to disseminate knowledge on the developments in the conference, and you would have seen many of you have been tagged and projected from our domestic handles. The response to the social media posts has been over 1 million hits. It is tremendous response in terms of popularization of the institute on a global platform. It has been positive and supportive, the comments that we have received, and it's a matter of great pride that the conference represented unity and cooperation. India's global narratives have been heard on an international platform. What we have witnessed over the past week are no ordinary events. We have witnessed revitalized multilateralism with experts from the United States, Europe. Professor Rumki, please sit down. What we have witnessed this week are no ordinary events. We have witnessed revived multilateralism with experts from the United States, several European nations, and Asia exchanging knowledge, the amplified voice of Global South with many presentations from developing countries, the efforts being made to adopt next generation reforms, and empowering citizens at the last mile. We have showcased India's transformative changes in governance models by adoption of technology, the maximum governance, minimum government model that has benefited millions of Indians, the vulnerable sections of society across regions, and also many of our partner countries. To mark the Iias-Darpg India conference, India brought out a seminal publication under the IAS banner, the volume 7 of the governance series, the first such book publication titled Viksit Bharat at 2047, Governance Transformed. A copy of this book publication has been gifted to each of the delegates, and those of you who have not received it may please visit the India office to collect a copy. This 710-page book publication in a record time by 20 authors and 4 editors speaks volumes of our collective willpower to present a deep and nuanced exploration of public administration in India, tracing its historical evolution, key frameworks, and contemporary challenges. It marks a major milestone and represents India's long-term endeavor to advance international knowledge creation and exchanges in public administration. Even this came from a phone call from the president, can you take up a book publication? And it took us to bring together 20 very senior individuals and 4 editors to make this happen. Last night, around 8 o'clock, the president texted me, can you take up a follow-up book publication? And Mr. President, after your call, we had to speak to the editors once again. And it was very late in the evening, and I got a confirmation only this morning at 6:30 saying that you don't wake us up so late. And while we are willing to take up this task. So a sequel of this book publication, we have examined the feasibility with our editorial team, and we will endeavor to have a sequel in the coming years. In the past 5 days, India's partnership with the IAS has grown stronger. closer and more dynamic than at any time in the history of our membership to the Institute. The IAS, as I said, represents the largest collective firepower of academics, practitioners within the overall realm of administrative sciences, which can have immense benefits for global public good. The agenda of the conference, Next Generation Administrative Reforms, Empowering Citizens at the Last Mile, was presented in the Bribant lecture by Professor Andrew Massey. I listened to him very carefully, and what I liked most in the lecture, and I will quote, of all the above initiatives, the numerous initiatives on governance, what he has quoted, and Priska, please listen to me, of all the above initiatives, redressal of public grievances is the most profound and most ancient in terms of written law and foundation of good governance. It structures the relationship between politics, the administrative state, and citizens. It's frequently discussed as the core of good governance and central to reform. Professor Massey's views actually reinforce the tremendous amount of work that we have undertaken in my department for administering the world's largest citizens interface for effective redressal of public grievances under the direct supervision of the Honorable Prime Minister of India, who reviews them on a monthly basis. To conclude, let me quote Prime Minister Modi on the contribution of India to multilateralism. As the mother of democracy, our belief in dialogue and democratic principles has been unwavering since time immemorial. Our global conduct is rooted in the fundamental principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means the world is one family. Looking to the future, I can say, united in consensus and spirit, we pledge to work collaboratively for a better and a more prosperous and harmonious future governance models, improvements in implementation of public policy. My gratitude to all the members of the International Institute of Public Administration for their support and cooperation. With these words, once again, I'd like to thank you, President Ben Shams, my dear friend and esteemed colleague, and all the members of the Council of Administration, the Research Advisory Committee headed by Professor Shiroyama, the Finance Committee headed by Professor Bogumil, and all the distinguished delegates who have attended the conference, and wish you all success in your future endeavors. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Mr. V. Srinivas. We now invite the rapporteur, Mr. Wolfgang Dexler, Tallinn Technological University, Estonia, to present his report.
So, ladies and gentlemen and others, dear colleagues, this conference is obviously drawing to a close. Numbers have been thinning out, and outside, a conference on Indian wheat and lentil production with much larger numbers seems to have taken over. But that is actually a beautiful metaphor for public administration, rightly understood as well, because if we, both scientifically and professionally, do our job well, we are in the wheat and lentil production as well. This was a particularly interesting conference for me. Also, if we look at IAS conferences general. If you look at this, IAS, Iias-Darpg India conference, it really focuses on India. I was thinking, has that been previously so, that it is an India conference, or is it just an IAS conference in India? In this case, it is definitely also, even if I look at you all, an India conference. And that, of course, is, as we've heard in various dimensions, a good thing, because whatever happens in India is important for the world. My second professorship is at University College London, and the most popular book I've seen these days on, I've spent the January there, on my colleagues' desks, has been a book by William Dalrymple, which is called The Golden Road: How Ancient India Transformed the World. And that kind of intellectual leadership and that kind of real leadership is something that makes it so very interesting. When I started telling you in the beginning, in the opening, how the rapportage would go, I said that I would borrow, rather than giving you the statistics of numbers, how many papers and so on, the approach of former ECPA President Eduardo Ongaro, and I will now do this. So there is 3 things that a conference can do: knowledge collective, enhanced understanding, and community building, the interaction. You know, it is a mistake to think that coffee breaks are incidental to scientific conferences. In fact, they are central. Yeah? And many, many projects will emerge from the coffee breaks. That means from the discourses and from the interaction, and not from one small paper after the other. But I do think in all 3 cases, we had a very interesting conference. What I found very interesting, sometimes there are these conferences where all the knowledge descends on you in the plenaries, and then people try to skip the working sessions. This was not the case here. The wisdom that I picked up many times and the new points were in the working sessions, and that is a good aspect of a conference that you can say. One of the things that had to be here, and that came also out now in the speech by Secretary Srinivas, is of course the question of the North versus or plus South, of the East and the West, of the idea of the Global South and so on. And this is a theme that I saw really very prominently represented in so many papers. This is also one of the, if not the first, of the big PA conferences right after the amazing attack against the public sphere and the civil service in one of the biggest countries in the world, trying to eradicate and not improve a public sphere. But again, if we are going to be a bit wider about it, what was remarked several times, and what I find very interesting, is that of the 4 great countries of the world, only 1 is trying to wreck the public sector, and 3 are going to what the Indonesians call world-class bureaucracy. So if you put it in this context, that should give those of us who are interested in wheat and lentil production for the people some hope. Now, there can be oppressive, negative, and grievance redress prone arrangements of the public sphere. But in the interest, public welfare, the transformation that we need, and lots of questions about the future without a functioning public sector and civil service are not possible. So I think it is very important that in a sense, I see radical attacks on the public sector as a complement. The large-scale thieves wouldn't go for the public sector if the public sector wouldn't defend the common good against those who want to take from it. And of course, there are other things as well. There are systems that are regimes which by themselves are the oppressors. And that is why my personal heroes are the civil servants in Myanmar who do not work for the government. Because that is a government that works hard against its own people and that thinks that it's fun to bomb kindergartens with government planes. However, the opposite of bad PA, and I'm saying this very generally, is not no PA, but is good PA. And I think this was a conference and this was topicalized. We here in this room can discuss, and as I saw in the discussions, may disagree on how to reform the public sector, to make it modern, to make it digital, to make it social and inclusive and so on. But that we do need a good public sector in order to improve the lot of the people, that seemed to me a large and very, very good consensus. And in that sense, I am very happy that I have been the rapporteur of a conference that was and still is, for its last hours, in the business of producing wheat and lentils to all the people. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Now, Dr. Suresh Mishra, Professor, Indian Institute of Public Administration, is kindly requested to give his report.
Dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, you all have taken part in this 3-day conference. A brief that I'll be presenting so that we look back what we have done during these 3 days. We've held 15 tracks, various themes, sub-themes. 167 papers were presented. 14 panels in 63 parallel sessions. And total 282 participants have participated, apart from those who have joined online, and from 15 countries. So by any tough imagination, it's a huge conference that we have conducted here. If you look at the conference, it opened with a book discussion that you all have seen the book. You all have also got a copy of the book. Viksit Bharat at the rate of 2047, Governance Transformed. It has been published and circulated. The contributors are some of the best men that we have in the country from the public services. After this, the release, the discussion of the book, the first plenary session was on topic emerging technologies and digital public infrastructure. You know that this is one of the major areas which have brought about reforms in India, and it is still being pushed so that we reach the last mile where the connectivity and other delivery of services still remains a problem. So I think they shared some of the best examples that India has adopted in empowering citizens digitally. Today you go to any corner of the country, you don't need cash. You can buy anything and just use your smartphone to make any payment that you want in the country. It's safe, it's secure. There is always an apprehension that how will the poor, how will the people in the rural areas do it? Today they are much more digitally empowered. They use digital interface much more, and they are all benefiting from the fruits of digital divide that was so-called in this country, which is being really close to a large extent. Then we had the inaugural session, which Honorable Minister of State, Shri Dr. Jiten Singh, he was here with us, and he shared what is happening in the next generation of reforms. I hope you remember that he said that for us, the next generation reforms started in 2014 itself when this government came in. And during the decade, if you look at the reforms that have been brought in, you can't imagine that India could change so fast. Even with almost 3 years being lost during COVID, a lot of things innovated digitally to empower India, empower citizens. And the way COVID was managed and the digital interface that the citizens had is something to be studied, researched, and seen how it could be achieved. He also said that reforms in India are citizen-centric, bridging the gap between the governance and the governed. And it amounts to bringing in efficiency and effectiveness in service delivery, which is a major component in India of how do you deliver seamless services without much problem to the citizen. I think that we have been able to achieve through various instruments that have been, the processes have been reformed, new structures have been created. There were a lot of legal issues, legal hurdles. All that have been removed slowly, and the reforms have really change the face, the way the citizen administration interface takes place in this country. In this, the book was also released by the Honorable Minister. Secretary DRPG welcomed the guests and the President of IIS addressed the gathering. The next session was focused on next generation reforms, which is essentially the theme of this conference. We had excellent presentations during the session. Mr. Srinivasan presented the reforms that have been initiated in India and how we have been able to achieve what was intended to enable the citizen to live a much better life, ease of living. He also focused on the redressal of grievances, which is one of the major achievement of this country, of this government, that has been able to help the citizens change their way the government and the citizen relationship was there earlier. Becoming much more transparent, promoting good governance, becoming accountable, ensuring that there is transparency in everything that is being done, and it's all being done through the reforms that have taken place. The next session was more on skilling, reskilling, training, and what kind of skills do you really need for the next generation that we are looking for reforms, whether the public services are adequately equipped to deliver those reforms that is so the kind of skills which are needed for public services servants, that was deliberated in that session. And on the second day, that is 12th February, we had the number of breakaway sessions were there and various topics were covered. As I said earlier, we had 15 tracks with different topics that were there. And they were all divided in different sessions, and I know very well that many of you were searching in which room you have to go because there were so many sessions going on. So that, and they were all chaired by very well-known experts from the area. And papers relating to the theme of the track, they were all presented there by experts. And after that, in the morning, we had the Mr. Andrew Massey, Professor of Government, King's College, London, delivering the environment lecture. And the lecture was very well received. In fact, there was pin drop attention for more than an hour they took. And the areas that he covered, the focus of his lecture was something that was enriching to all of us. The lecture was followed again by breakaway sessions on various themes, and the experts were all there. On 13th, we had breakaway sessions up to lunch relating to the themes which were presented. The papers were of very high quality that were presented, and they generated a lot of discussions. And in fact, the discussions, as the time would be over, it would continue during tea and lunch. And we saw that a lot of activity was there, even after the sessions were over. So this is in just what happened this Tuesday. We'll be bringing out a detailed report, which will be available to all of you. The sessions were very participative, and number of questions were there, and some remain unanswered. I also take this opportunity to thank Iias-Darpg for associating IAPA in this conference as knowledge partner. I would like to thank Stropin and Wolfgang, my senior, for all their help. For last 3 months, I think we have been in touch, working out the academic part of the programs, and thank you for your support. And I would also like to thank Sri Srinivasan sir, Secretary DRPG, DG IIPA for associating me with this program as a reporter of the conference. It has been a very enriching and learning experience for me. And It's always a pleasure to work with Srivasan sir. You have provided the leadership that shows the results today. Thank you for your vision, sir. And thanks to the Department of DRPG, all have really put in their best to put this. I think it's a flawless one. So I think give them a big hand for what has been given. So thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Suresh Misra. May I request Mr. Sufyan Sehrawi, Director General, International Institute of Administrative Science, Belgium, to kindly address us.
Thank you very much. Let me be quick. First, I will just address some brief thanks to and a brief summary of what has gone, and then recognize few people, and then I will leave the floor. So let me say that from the point of view of the Secretariat of IAS, working on this conference has seen a great collaboration and positive one with the Iias-Darpg. And really, I mean, it has been almost exemplary, and I think it shows in this display at the level of this conference. Everything was top quality from the premises. I think it doesn't get better than this. The program, as Wolfgang and Professor Mishra have just described, the catering, hospitality, the social program that will start right later this afternoon, will continue tomorrow. I think it's, you know, it's a big offering that, you know, you can hardly say anything about it other than positive things. In terms of the program, of course, I have a few statistics, but obviously these are temporary, and some of them have already been presented earlier by Sri Srinivas and by Professor Mishra. The program was extremely rich with 15 tracks, 167 papers and 14 panels, 63 parallel sessions, at least around 300 participants from 57 countries. But again, I stand to be corrected in some of these statistics because not everything goes through the system, basically. So there are, you know, there is a side, if you want, a system, you know, especially for local participants. I personally had the chance to attend some parallel sessions and could witness the good quality of research being presented there. The plenaries, and I think many of you have attended them, they were highly attended and allowed many of us to learn about the impressive strategies of the Indian government in digitalization and especially the grievance process. And I think many of you will take back some of this with them. No need to go over the rest of the program, it has been done. Some elements of this conference that you might not have witnessed because they take place in closed rooms. There were vivid debates about governance, about the governance of IAS, some of which you saw actually today if you witnessed the hearing of the candidates for the position of president. But some of them took place within the Council of Administration meetings about the governance of IAS and its future. And I think this is also one of the positive things about this event. You've just witnessed the debates or the hearings of the candidates. This is again an illustration of the great democratic tradition that exists within IAS. It's also a chance to renew the governance covenant with our members, etc. And I hope you have had the chance to ask some of your questions and give some your point of view. Now, beyond also these formal proceedings that you have just witnessed or that you have seen throughout the conference, there are many others that are not as visible, like the collaborations that are being established between institutions from different parts of the world. And this is also something that is core to this conference. I can, you know, with no doubt and no hesitation say that this was indeed one of the best IAS conferences ever, truly so. Of course, I would like to thank all of you here who stayed the course with us until this moment, and I'm very happy to see a crowd of approximately 200 people, down from the 400 that were at the beginning, but still, you know, this is on the high end of Iias statistics for attendance during a closing ceremony. I hope and believe that it has been worth it for all of you, and of course, I wish you safe travels back home. I will finish by thanking those who are really behind this great success, and you know, the real, you know, people that made this happen. Excuse me for starting with my own team because it's a smaller one. Otherwise, if we start rolling out the team, the local team, it'll be a lot. So I would like to really recognize Steve Troupin and Diana Mouya. Please stand up. I mean, they have literally, you know, from our side, they did most of the work, and they did marvelously well. Of course, they had support. We have also another member of our secretariat here in India, but he was mostly focused on the IRIS session, Marco de la Cruz. I do not believe he's in the room. We had some remote support from our personnel, Diogo Pereira, Cesar Alfonso, and Hafid Al-Waghli, who are not here today as well, but it was a great teamwork. Last but not least, I will now recognize the local team who have been extremely supportive. I mean, at all levels. I mean, it was like almost utopian, you know, practically a glitchless organization with friendliness all over, professionalism at the highest level, etc. Let us say that, I think Srinivas mentioned that before, that he wanted to exceed our expectations or something like that of this nature. I'll tell you, we are completely buzzed, you know, and our expectations have been exceeded at all levels. So, unfortunately, of course, we cannot recognize everybody because so many people, but we have a list of people that we have prepared and that we would like to recognize. Before we get to the local team, let me first invite the Iias President, Srinivas, to stand in the middle and to, can we have the trophies? Okay. So I will start by calling on Professor Suresh Mishra. Please, he's the rapporteur. So you have a trophy and Belgian chocolate. Wolfgang Drexler is already there. Also, thank you very much for the great job you have done. Our plenary speakers, I'm not sure all of them are here, but I'll still call the names. Dr. Yunus Abouyoub from the ESQA. I don't think he's here, so but he's still here, but he's not in the room. Dr. Licia Sanarliu, is she around? Yes, Dr. Licia, there she is. She's also one of our most faithful partners and collaborators, along with Raymond Saner. So happy to recognize her also. There she comes. Thank you very much. Mr. Peter van der Browning. Peter, there he is. Peter is a representative of our member state of Belgium, the host members, the state member that hosts us in Brussels, but also he was a plenary speaker during one of our plenary panels. He's here along with Mélanie Recours, also from Belgium. Now I move on to the local committee. Of course, we have to start with Srinivas, the secretary of Iias-Darpg and the mastermind behind all of this. Yes. Mr. Puneet Yadav. Puneet? What is it? Oh, okay. So, Additional Secretary at the DARPG, Ms. Sarita Chauhan. Sarita? She's a Joint Secretary of the DARPG as well. Sarita, okay. Is she there, Sarita? Somebody can take it on her behalf, yeah, if she's not there. Yes, that's true. Ms. Jaya Dubi, the DRPG as well, Jaya? Okay, no problem. Okay, we can put it aside. Mr. S.K. Pandey, Director, DRPG, Pandey? Pandey and Puneet were our really contact people here and helped us tremendously. I would like to thank them both for their tremendous job. Mr. Lakshmi Chandra and the Secretary, the DRPG, Lakshmi. He's popular here. Ms. Sanjita Chatterjee and the Secretary, DRPG. Ms. Usha Krishan Kumar. Usha. She's Section Officer, DRPG. Ms. Suman Malhotra, Private Secretary, DRPG. Mr. Pramod Kumar, ASO, DRPG. Thank you. Congratulations. Ms. Komal Steno, DRPG. And Mr. Vinit Agarwal, DEO, DRPG. With this, I finish the list of people that we are recognizing from DRPG. I'll leave the floor, I think, to the rest of the program. Thank you.
May I now request Mr. V. Srinivas to kindly felicitate our guests of IIAS as a token of our immense respect for them. His Excellency Raid Mohammed bin Shams. Mr. Sofyan Sahravi. Mr. Steve. है ना, ये वाली लिस्ट तो नहीं है, ये वाली किसमें मैं पढ़ती मिस डियाना हाँ अभी राइट ना अभी और भी है ना अभी ये और है अभी हाँ Mr. Marco. Mr. Marco. We have off-site guests also. Ms. Diana or Mr. Steve can receive these awards or the mementos. Cesar Alfonso, he's off-site. And Hafida E.L. Eluagli. And how can we miss Dr. Suresh Misra? And Mr. Wolfgang Drexler. And our rapporteur, Mr. Wolfgang Drexler. We have another list, Mr. Sofyan Sehravi. I request you to kindly felicitate them as well, who has immensely contributed to this conference. Mr. Tushaba Shinde, Director. Tushaba Shinde. I request Mr. Sofyan to kindly felicitate them. Mr. Rohit Anand, next. They are not here. Over. If anybody from this list is present here, please come up onto the stage. Mr. Rohit Anand, Parthasathi, Mr. Sanjeev Saxena, Sarita Taneja, Hari Kishan Bhatt, Raj Shekharan, Vandana Nagia, D.D. Nimje, Satish Kumar, Rakesh Malik. They are there. These are the people who have contributed immensely to organize this conference. Thank you so much, all the dignitaries. Please take your seats. And every good thing finally comes to an end, but this is not the end. It is the beginning of our new journey with our greater enthusiasm, zest, and our renewed commitments. Now, Mr. Sardendu Pandey, Director, IENC, Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, now requested to propose words of thanks.
Respected dignitaries on the stage, ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the conclusion of the Iias-Darpg India Conference 2025, it is my honor to express our heartfelt gratitude to all those who contributed to making this event a tremendous success. First and foremost, we extend our deepest thanks to our Secretary, Mr. V. Srinivas. As the head of DARPG, his exceptional leadership has been the driving force behind this conference. His vision, strategic thinking, and tireless commitment to excellence have ensured that this conference became a reality. A special mention goes to the swift delivery of the book Viksit Bharat 2047, which was made possible due to his leadership, commitment, and conviction. His ability to foster a strong relationship with each author played a crucial role in the publication of this book. This conference is a direct reflection of his dedication and unwavering mission. We are also deeply grateful to our Additional Secretary, Mr. Puneet Yadav, for his invaluable support, hard work, and meticulous planning, which ensured the smooth execution of this event. Our heartfelt thanks go to all the authors and editors of Viksit Bharat 2047 for their immense contribution to this seminal publication. We thank all the members of various administrative committees of IIAS whose efforts have contributed to strengthening and making IIAS more resilient. We are also grateful to the rapporteurs, Mr. Wolfgang and Mr. Suresh Misra, for their guidance and insightful contribution throughout the conference. A special thanks to chairpersons and speakers of the plenary and parallel sessions for their expert presentations and enriching discussion. We express our sincere appreciation to all participants from across the world, including India, who have shared their research and insights with us. You are true heart and soul of this conference. We extend our thanks to IIS Secretariat team led by the President and the DG IIS for entrusting us with the responsibility of hosting this conference. And we are confident that they are as pleased with the outcome as we are. Our gratitude also goes to the National Center for Good Governance for connecting the conference with their alumni from over 34 countries through video conferencing. We would like to express our sincere thanks our knowledge partner, the Indian Institute of Public Administration, for their unwavering technical support. We also thank our colleagues from DARPG who worked tirelessly across various organizing committees to ensure the success of this event. A special mention goes to Mr. Steve Chopin and Ms. Diana, whose relentless effort and support were instrumental in organizing this conference. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to all my team members, Lakshmi Chandra, Sanjita, Usha, Shuman, Komal, Pramod, Vineet, and of course, technical team of QCI who worked day and night to ensure everything was in place for this event. Lastly, we extend our thanks to the many unsung heroes behind the scene whose hard work ensured the success of this conference in every way. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much. I sincerely thank all the luminaries of this conference, and thank you all for your esteemed participation. Thank you so much. And this is the conclusion of the conference. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best, and let's have tea after this. And after that, you will see the vibrant and colorful culture of India, and there will be cultural extravaganza for you. So thank you so much. All the best. Namaskar. Jai Hind.